Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So this is the big day. I've been waiting for this one for a little bit longer. It is time for the book release tonight. So this stream I'm going to try and cap out at like 45 minutes. Then we can jump on over to the other channel where we will actually be reading from the book. But what I want to do on this stream, although I alluded to some of this about a week and a half ago on a Wednesday live stream, we're actually going to talk a little bit more about the software that I used in this book production. So what is the book? For all you who have been waiting, the book is a parody and it is called The Art of Shallow Neighboring, which is now available on Amazon, CreateSpace, Our Walk in Christ, and PayHip is where I have the things available right now. It should be coming to other bookstores within a few weeks. Once the thing gets out there, then it's it can take a few days to get out to the other places. Now, of course, this book is a parody of this garbage that exists in the world, and really, what prompted me to write this is that all the churches in our town started going through this thing, and it's garbage. I mean, it's not a good, theologically good book. So what I wanted to do is go ahead and write a parody. And so you can see what I did there with the covers. All of my cover design was done in Gimp. Of course, I spotted the Font Awesome logo. They didn't sport that. Then, of course, I made pretty much everything pretty much the same throughout the book. So what we're going to do on this stream is we're going to talk about the technical aspects, and then we're going to jump over to the other one where we will actually do some book reading and stuff. So that is that. So greetings to everybody. Hello, Daniel. Hello, KO2610, Carbon Programmer. I still have no idea what you're telling me. I assume you're saying hi. How are you? So greetings. Hello back. Hello, Pseudo Linux and Jan Lopez. How are you? Yes, you are on time, which is quite amazing. I almost wasn't because I'm doing this a half an hour earlier than I usually do. 1 hour. I made a new intro, got a new profile picture and YouTube art and a channel trailer, which is uploading. Sweet. I'll have to go check it out here when I'm done. So let's go ahead and talk about how I wrote this book. First, of course, the most important part of writing any book is what word processor do you use? So I used LibreOffice. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and boot up LibreOffice if I can here. And LibreOffice got used for the, where am I at? Let me move my picture. Hold on. Let me move my picture, and then we'll go ahead and transition. There we are. All right, so of course I use LibreOffice, and I do not believe I have all of the fonts installed I used for the book. So what we'll do is, I use LibreOffice, and let me just go ahead and load up the file. Now, I do not have the unformatted version. I do have, do I have, yes, there we are. Let's go ahead and load this one up. No, I don't want to insert a section. I just want to open it. I did not write it on this particular computer. This entire thing was actually written on my Peppermint computer. Just got to find it. There we are. All right. So, of course, I have my Peppermint computer right here. This guy runs Peppermint. I did all of the writing over here, all of the formatting on this computer, and all of the ebook production. I moved to the other computers when it came to running Blender for doing my promo pictures and Gimp for running my cover photos, just because this guy here, 2 gigs of RAM, not a good candidate for using Blender, and probably not as much for Gimp either. But what you can see here as I loaded this up. Now, one thing you'll notice here is this font is not the correct font. If I look at the opening book there, you'll see it's the different font, and that's because that's a proprietary font that I do not have installed on the computer. And so what we did here is first I just kind of wrote it out like you'd write it out, just utilizing the default LibreOffice. Let the thing go. Come on, kitty. Kitty wants to come up. Come on. There you go. Yep, there's Kitty. Hello, peoples. All right. And then once you have the whole thing written, you want to edit it a few times. So I ran it through 2 or 3 edits myself, and then I had One of my viewers graciously edited it for me once as well. I found another typo today, but oh well, we're going to run the book with a typo. And then what you do after that is then you want to start doing the editing. And as you start doing the editing, there's a whole lot of formatting. There's a whole lot of sectioning you need to do. Particularly one thing that's a little difficult is you get to the very bottom. I have a page down here, which is kind of the closing page. I have a notes page here, which has all my footnotes, and then the content up here. This part here is actually a little bit difficult because usually the notes force themselves on the very bottom of the page of the book. And so I actually had to break the section and add a whole nother section down here to have my final concluding remarks. And so with those, you just want to utilize the menus up here, find your sections. You want to add various sections to it. And then, of course, there's other document systems that you do. So I, of course, built some custom paragraph styles, like title is one that I built. I built quotations, section header, section subheader, non-title header. And some of these you have to tie into your pages because your table of contents gets produced automatically. So you can see here that I have a table of contents, and you'll see it's highlighted in gray. That's because it is added automatically. And the same thing actually gets added automatically, of course, as your footers, or your page numbers, your headers and your footers. So what you'll see is I have the title of the book on the left page, and I have on the right page, I have the title of the chapter. And so those are automatically put in by utilizing section systems. And so in that instance there, I'm actually able to load everything up. I have my fonts put in here the way I want my fonts. And then I put an image down here. Now this book is full of little Easter eggs from the content I chose to use. Including cultural references from good resources, bad resources, funny resources. There's at least 2 Weird Al references in this thing. I quote, not very good movies like Teen Wolf and Spaceballs in a couple places from notable scenes. And then I did some other tip of the hat stuff. I have one triple layer cultural reference. And I'm not even going to show you where all those are. But one of the biggest and funniest Easter eggs I did is in the original book. Let me go back to my main page up here. Let me bigger picture here. In the original book, you'll see at the footer there where they have the pages. They just have this weird gray line. I'm not quite sure why. It's just some weird gray decoration line. Of course, we're talking about a dying church, so I did an EKG. And if you go to the very last page, which is the notes, my EKG flatlines and says, "She's dead, Jim." So I wanted to make sure I had a lot of fun little Easter eggs that you can hunt. Of course, they talk about making a block map, and the churches literally gave out a picture of that thing that's on the cover so you could fill out names. So I made mine out of a tic-tac-toe board and fun stuff like that. So that's kind of what I did. Let me go ahead and jump over to look at comments here before we go much further. All right, Striker Wolf, how's it going? Gimp is amazing. You can add Photoshop brushes to Gimp. Yes, Gimp is awesome. What distros are you using on your computers right now? Linux Mint over here, Peppermint over here, and the computer that's behind me that is blocked, the comments are blocking it right now. I am running an Ubuntu back behind me. No, Rex, you're not too late. You came on right about the time I started. Nick has amazing tutorials on Gimp and Inkscape. He produces amazing work. Sweet. I'll have to go check some of those out myself. Greetings there, Tim. How's it going? I regret switching to my NVIDIA drivers. I want my Intel back. I use AMD for Linux computers. Actually, this computer has Intel, or Intel, I think. AMD, whatever's in here. I think this is also an AMD processor with an APU in it. And I have no idea what's in this Lenovo. Well, it might be Intel, and that's what the processor is. Let's see. Those movies ruled. Which movies? All right. Grit switching, let's see, AMD here. I also use AMD GPUs. Yeah, I have no problem. Like, AMD GPUs will get in trouble if you're trying to stream, especially on my streams here where I'm using 2 HD cameras. I can't run that on an APU. So I do have a 4 GB dedicated graphics card on this computer that I use for streaming. NVIDIA here. All right, bring out the Gimp. I will bring out the Gimp very shortly. I'll use AMD GPUs. YouTube is now making fun of Firefox by making it slower before Firefox Quantum is getting released. Huh? Using AMD is it Phenom? Okay. Still quite powerful. Sweet. Never use Intel. All right. Hey, but why use works for us? Spaceballs and Teen Wolf. Yeah. All right. Intel makes trash processors while AMD makes good processors. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the screen here. So of course this is what I did. This is all of course done on LibreOffice. All the formatting is done. Now what my other book did is this whole cover page is actually an image, which if I thought about that, it would have saved me about $19 for one of my font licenses. Because the font license, the font that's supposed to be right here where it says the Art of Shallow Neighboring is supposed to be Sketch Block, the font on the front. If I had embedded that in well, actually, no, because I still needed it actually for the paid chapters as well. Anyway, never mind. But I could have embedded this as an image. So everything's all up here. Also, I'm pleased to report with all of this, never one time did I have one of my submitted documents be rejected because it wouldn't print. I re-edited a few of the documents, but none of my documents failed the test. So all of my documents were able to be inserted. So that is that. All right. Let's see. Let's look at. Let's see what else I got. Let's go ahead and have a look at my GIMP setup. All right, so here's my full cover. We'll go ahead and open that with Gimp. Now, of course, on my live stream I did on Wednesday, like 10 days back, I actually talked about how to get your templates and things like that, how to grab your template files. So this here is my cover design, and this is, of course, all done on Gimp. And what I do have, though, is the front cover is actually imported. I have a separate file which contains just the front cover. So you see the front cover is simply one image. I do have a separate file which has the front cover on there. Let me see if I have that on this computer or not. I have no idea if it's on this computer. It is this. I think it is this one. Yep. So here's actually my front cover, which even this, the house grid, is still done somewhere else. I did that in multiple layers. There's another 20 layers involved on that, but I put that in. Of course, we have our swimming pool. You see what I did here is I used my airbrush tool and brushed out some of this just as a wavy pattern, just so that it blended in and looked like it was wavy up in the image there. So you see what I did on that one. Of course, one thing that I did do is I brought in the swimming pool a little bit. Because on one of my original print covers, you'll see that the pool gets too close to the edges. And so I redid the cover so it's a little bit thinner. It's about 80% thinner. And so we did everything over here. Of course, we have our text over here, including the coloration. You'll see why I did a drop shadow on that, because if you don't do a drop shadow, it's really hard to see. So I have all of this kind of stuff. Of course, let's see, there's my sideways and then of course this was I actually put the original book up here so I can match the sizes of everything, just so that I had a really good design for that. So that is what I did with Gimp for the front cover. I saved that, and then I just imported this into the template, and then I did the binding and the back cover. So of course the binding is its own folder over here. Here's my publisher logo down at the very bottom. I have my house, which is actually the Font Awesome icon. So kudos to Font Awesome, free and open source font used for adding. If you look at websites and you see all the icons and stuff all over them, that's Font Awesome. Here's the title. Of course, this is not the final one, I don't think, because another one of the challenges that I did is when I first printed it, it's a little bit too big. And so I made some things smaller. So actually, this is not the final. Oh, my light's getting in the way of seeing that well. There you go. So you see I brought the fonts down a little bit smaller there, just so that I could actually see better. So I went ahead and did the binding all on its own. Of course, there's the binding color, binding text title there. And then the back cover as well is its own system. So I have my publishing logo. Need to keep this spot available for your barcode, which is actually on here just so I can see what it looks like. I have my little white line, and then I have the top text block, bottom text block, the catchphrase at the top, and I thought I might have, it looks like it looks like the coloration's there. So that was Gimp. So now, of course, when you want to submit your cover art, you want to flatten it. So I literally came in, right-click, and flattened the image. If you don't flatten it, then you could get some color variations, and so actually, since I flattened it, one of the things that you'll notice, let's see, when I flattened it is I did get a little bit better coloration on it once things got flattened down. So that's one of the things to keep in mind is flatten out your images, make sure things are looking good in that respect. So let's go ahead and have another look at some comments. All right. Intel has a history of corruption and creating monopolies. Hello, Anna Rita. How are you? All right. Hola. Using i7C. Yep. All right. Intel even bribed companies to only use their processors. That's not exciting. Core i5-33. I think the computer behind me's i5 3500, I think. Going back to AMD CPUs. Yeah, I think AMD CPUs work really good for Linux. Intel's trying to lock people out of Linux and make Windows the only operating system. Yep. Love the cover. Thank you very much. Yep. And again, if you came on late, you want to see the original cover and the other one side by side. There's what they look like side by side. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it better. So the task was really to duplicate the covers because, of course, it is a parody, and so I wanted to make them look as similar to each other as I possibly could. Of course, introducing the whole waiting pool for that whole shallow Christian stuff. So, okay, I need to donate more to the Gimp devs. They deserve it. Absolutely. Gimp is an awesome software. I recognize your publishing mark. Yes. Publishing mark is from my other system. I think you built that. If I'm not remember correctly. No, I think my cousin built that, and initially, because I had that done a long time ago. Don't agree with the whole locking out older Windows OSs from using newer CPUs, but that's a pretty crappy move. Yep. Another reason to switch to Linux. Yep, indeed it is. Is there any laptop to use Ryzen Core i side? I have no idea. Microsoft sucks for doing that. They are even paying laptop manufacturers to lock down Windows and make it difficult to install Windows. Yep. Actually, I encountered an HP. A friend of mine has an HP computer that I could not get Linux on it. I mean, I didn't sit there and try for hours and hours, but it was I was not able to get in there. Okay. Now despise Microsoft their attempts to lock people out of Linux. Yep. LOL, just got the reference to having the pool. Ha ha ha! Yep. This book is full of exciting references. In fact, I'll show you some of them here. I'm not going to do it on this stream. I'm going to do. I'll identify more Easter eggs on the next stream here which starts at 9:30 because that's on the Christian channel. We're actually going to go into some of the fun Easter eggs on this thing. There's so many Easter eggs on this. Like Intel just pays manufacturers. Yep. I did build that. No, actually, you did not build that one. That one was actually built over 10 years ago. This one here. I gave you that resource file, and you used that to build the other logo that's on the main site. No, I had that built long before you touched computers, Tim. Long time back. Let's see. So that is my GIMP work. Let's go ahead and jump over to the ebooks. of course, what I did for the ebook is I start by coming up here and I want to export. Now, of course, to export the file for print, you need to save it as a flattened PDF with the fonts embedded. So you have to go into the properties, embed the fonts, and then you have to load the you need to load in the fonts and then save as a flattened PDF. My train of thought has derailed. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to come out here and you want to export as an XHTML. And then with the XHTML file, you will open that up. And the first system that I use to build the ebook is Sigil. So you use Sigil, which will open up the HTML file, and then that will enable you to make some edits. So let me go ahead and open up the ebook. All right. So here's the ebook, what the ebook finally looks like. Of course, in this one here, let me not do that. I want to make it bigger, but I don't want to. No, I don't want to do that either. I don't want to cover the comments, the camera view. There we are. Okay, so what we have here is this is actually the dedication page, which I dedicated this to Christians everywhere tired of business practices and buzzwords infiltrating the church. We have a title page. Now this, of course, is essentially an HTML editor, so I feel very well at home here. This is basically just calling the image, which is down here in the images folder. So if you open this up, we should be able to see what the image looks like. So there's our image that is embedded into the book. And then, of course, we have fonts embedded into the book. Now, to embed fonts into a book, you have to have a ebook font site license. So Sketch Block Bold, I had to buy the font license. Orator Standard actually comes with the ebook license. So if you buy an Adobe font, it already has the ebook license embedded in most of them. Orator Sketch Block, I had to buy a desktop version, and then I actually had to buy the ebook version separately. The good news is I bought the fonts at FontSpring, and buying the fonts at FontSpring, then you got a discount on the second license for the same font. So that was actually nice and handy. Okay, verifying the computer turned off there. All right. And then what I do is here's my title page. Now, of course, what you see here is I could have easily embedded the images, or you can allow the image to be embedded in as code. So this is actually all this green text is the image being embedded in the system in the file as code. And so that will actually give us the images that is embedded into the file itself. And then, of course, we have our copyrights page. Again, this is all just HTML. So if you know HTML, you can do this kind of stuff. And there is actually a view here as well. So you can actually view it here. So then this is the table of contents, of course. Now, this is for the ebook. So each one of the sections, you'll see that every chapter is its own section. So what you do is your XHTML file is going to export as one file, but that's usually too big of a file, and it will cause some e-readers to crash. So after each chapter, you put your cursor at the end of the chapter, and you come up here into the toolbar up top, and you find this guy here will split at the cursor, so we'll split this into multiple files. And then what you see here is that this guy here in blue, I linked each of the chapter titles back up to the table of contents, so you can easily jump back and forth between the chapters in the table of contents. This way, the ebook, when you actually have the ebook copy of it, it's a very, very nice ebook that it will enable you to jump back and forth between the table of contents and each of the chapters. Then, of course, we have the image up here. These guys here are all put in with just CSS elements, and there's a separate files for the copyrights page. The chapters CSS is over here. The title page CSS is over here. So you basically embed your CSS. You get all your CSS stuff going, and then each one of these guys here you just kind of highlight. Now, While this all looks good, there's some problems with Sigil. One challenge I found is it will start randomly putting a whole bunch of ASCII spaces into your file. We're talking to the degree of thousands of them, and it will cause the system to crash. So, well, not the system, but the program itself. So save your document regularly, and if you're finding that the thing seems to be running slower than it should, simply export, come over here, export the page you're working on that seems slow, hit Save As over here. Open it up in an HTML editor or a WordPad, find all the ASCII spaces and delete them all, and then re-import it and delete the original. Now, what you can't do well on Sigil is you can't do a lot of the fine editing. The fine editing is a lot better on Calibre. So once you have your basic formatting done, I removed a lot of stuff. I cleaned some things up. You save the file as an EPUB or whatever else you want to save it as. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open, I'm going to go ahead and open up the ebook file now in Calibre. So Calibre is where I do any of the final adjustments. And I'm not sure I've run Calibre on this computer before, so it might be a second. Looks like I have. But I have not imported the book. So we're going to go ahead and add the book. Let's see, Shallow Neighbor, 17 files, and Final EPUB. So now we're adding the book. All right, so there's our book. So what I use Calibre for is just kind of doing the fine tuning of the book. So I come over here, right click. You can edit your metadata directly. So you can edit your individual metadata, make sure your author is exactly the way you like it. In my case, for my Calibre library, I put in an extra space in there so that it lined up all of my books under my same authorship name in Calibre. You can add in or replace or edit the cover, and then you can add some various things like the ISBN numbers, the tags, all that kind of stuff. Actually, this is not even the final file because the final file actually has information here. So I have to verify which is the final file here in the next day or so I don't get stuff lost. I think I just grabbed this folder I'm working with actually just simply came from the fact that it was the one on the other computer, but it's not the one on the final computer. But regardless, you can edit all this stuff over here, and then the next thing you want to do is right-click, and you want to come down to Edit Book on the very bottom. This is where I was doing all my fine-tuning with stuff. So your fine-tuning, I can come into a title page. And one of the reasons I like this is it gives me a view on the one side and the HTML on the other. So I can get a better look as to what things look like. I can also do batch find and replaces in the individual file and all files in the book. I can sort things out a little bit better. What Calibre doesn't do well, you can't split HTML documents easily. Linking is a little bit harder, and it doesn't do a good job at automatically generating tables of contents like Sigil does. That's why I do all my basic book work starting in Sigil, and then I move over to Calibre to finalize all of the things in the fine tuning. So that's the ebooky stuff. There's a lot of comments. Let's go ahead and jump over to the comments. All right. What does the pool mean? The pool represents shallow Christianity, because we hear, you've heard the expression, the American and the Western Christian church isn't very deep at all. It's very shallow in many places. And so the swimming pool, which is a wading pool, represents shallow Christianity. And that is, of course, there's a double word play on this, the art of shallow neighboring, the shallow of the theology, and the shallow of the system. So that's what the pool means. First time I haven't distro hopped. Nice. Baby pool, shallow. HP is actually one of the companies that MS paid to work with. Yeah, and I don't use HP products anymore, though. I got a belly full. Oh, hey, Kathy, how's it going there? All right, I will avoid HP. Yep. Like Homer Simpson, takes a while. Oh! Okay. Wonder what other companies have been paid to lock out Linux. I don't know. I didn't know until Tom told us. Okay. PDF is my favorite format for print. Yes, PDF, some people misunderstand what the purpose of a PDF is. The purpose of a PDF is to make sure the thing always looks the same everywhere. Because if I take this file and open it up in Word, Word will have a hissy fit. But if I open a PDF, no matter what computer I'm on, especially if the fonts are embedded, it's going to look exactly the same no matter where I open it or what program I open it. And that's why you submit your final document in a PDF format. Did you have time to type all this stuff in the ebook? Well, yeah, the whole ebook is actually all available as well. So basically what I did is I started the book, and then once it was edited mostly, I went ahead and did the formatting, and then when I got any final edits in, I had to go back through and do the edits in 2 different places, one for the ebook and one for the regular. So yeah, everything is in the ebook. Do I have to type all the stuff in the ebook? Well, what you do is you start with the main document, and then you export as an HTML, and then you let Sigil to kind of develop the ebook for you, and then you need to come in and fine-tune stuff. All right, I'm sure I've answered all these questions, but that's okay. Sudo Linus, you do well. Welcome to the club. Oh, Sudo Linux, yes, awesome. All right, Microsoft knows what Linux has to offer and wants to make sure people cannot get into Linux. Yep. HTML. Tom, I'm not that smart to know. So I do not even know what the pool and the cover meant. Don't worry about it. Okay, Windows is a product, not an operating system. Used to make some websites with HTML and CSS. Yeah, I felt really good at home. Actually, one of the things is if one of the first things I had to do is strip pretty much all of the CSS, because the XHTML file that gets exported, whether you're using Word or LibreOffice, just puts boatloads of excess code in. And the best way to get your book down in size is reduce all of that. Just get rid of it all. And then what I did is I actually deleted all the CSS, I deleted all the references to the CSS, and then I went in and retroactively added it just where I needed the CSS. Well, notice HP is locking out Linux. I heard Asus has a deal with MS, so maybe their laptops will be dumped as well. I don't know. Well, I only buy Dell laptops because they support Linux. Yeah, all my laptops are Dell, and except the Lenovo. Lenovo seem to be pretty good as well. Just kind of watch out for that whole Superfish thing. All right. Happy I didn't decide on HP. Yeah, I hate HP. Okay, now Asus works well with Linux. Cool. Spider Eyes, greetings. Not enough manufacturers offer drivers for products such as printers and scanners. One thing is a problem with Linux. I find that most of the printers that I have and have worked with actually will find the drivers themselves. The one printer I have in my office, which is is it a full color? No, it's just a black and white color laser, or a black and white laser with a scanner. The scanner doesn't work on Linux unless I install the proprietary drivers. But the printing function does. I happen to have another printer in the office, though, that has a better scanner that does work without any drivers. So I use that for scanning. Flipping from here and there, whoosh, whoosh, makes me dizzy. Sorry. Be right back. Kissing the baby. Good night. Okay. Hope Asus does not work. I think my next laptop will be Lenovo or Dell. Yep, I have good luck with both of those. The Ubuntu computer is a Lenovo. My Linux Mint or Linux Peppermint computer is Lenovo. The streaming computer is actually custom build, and all my other laptops are Dells. Mostly read real books, not really ebooks. Should I start reading ebooks? What file extension do they come in, and where should I find some good free ebooks? Okay, Sudo Linux. I still like print books better. However, if it comes down to paying money and cluttering my house for a book that I'm pretty sure is going to be a one-time read, I've just been doing the ebooks. Where do you find them? Get Calibre. Install Calibre. In fact, do I still have Calibre loaded? I still have Calibre loaded. So inside Calibre, let me close that. Oh, I kept the Calibre editor open and I closed the real Calibre. Let me go ahead and open Calibre back up. Okay, so the best place to get good free ebooks is inside Calibre itself, actually. So come up here and find the world logo up here at the top, and then simply search by your title. So let's see if the Art of Shallow Neighboring shows up yet in the searches. It may or it may not. And then what this is going to do is you can select what store it's looking in. Look at that. There you go. Unlocked UK, 2.2 pounds. You can buy the Art of Shallow Neighboring. Whoa! You're a locked my book with DRM, despite I told it not to. So if you can, don't get it from there. Get it from the unlocked version. So the DRM status will be over here. I'm not sure why some of these guys are locking my book with DRM. I told it specifically not to, but all right. So let's add an author. And we'll go ahead and rerun the search and see if what that shows up. All right. So here is this Denmark? Here is Canadian, UK. Here is Canada. Here is Australia. I'm not sure why DE is locking my book with DRM. I have no idea why it should not be locked. But if you are in one of the countries and you want to buy my ebook and you want to get it DRM free, which I would recommend, PayHip is where I'm putting all of my ebooks for international download, and you can download that file without it. So the file formats, if you want to send it to a Kindle, you want a .mobi format. If you just want to use a basic e-reader and on an Android or whatever else, download the free and open source FB reader. That's what I use on my Androids. And that will enable you then to use EPUB, Mobi, whatever you want to use. And Calibre itself can convert it. So if you can only track down an EPUB, you can right-click, convert it to a Mobi, and then you can send the Mobi file to that. So this is what you do. This is a good place to find them. Again, I'm not sure why these two are locking my book down with DRM, because I specifically told it not to lock my book with DRM. So pick it up if you can from the guys that are not locking it. If you are in an international place and you need it, in fact, it's cheaper on PayHip anyway. Well, I think it is. It's $2.75 US on PayHip. This is what you do. So just search for the book up here and then run a search, and that's how you can find free ebooks. Now, if you go back, Pseudo Linux, I have a very nice video where I talk about how to actually build a home-based ebook server. Go ahead and do that, and then you can do that. And what I've been doing, I've been enjoying a little bit more reading them. I still like the paper book better. But if it comes down to spending money and buying a book that I might only read once or twice, I'd rather have it on ebook. If it's one of my favorite books, or I've read it, or I know I want to read it over and over, I'll buy the paper book. That's kind of my thoughts on that. All right, Spider Eyes Digest is not really needed on Linux. If not all modern distros, printers, and scanners. A lot more work goes into making a book than I would have thought. Yes, it is a ton of work. And that's why if you want to publish a book through a traditional self-publishing route, it usually costs like $1,500. In my case, I know how to do all these tools and how to use all these things, so it cost me $0.0. I went with a self-publisher that had the option that I could have bought their services, or I could just upload things for free. And if you are writing a book and you would like, I will offer the service to format it, and I'll undercut, some people's prices. We can talk. If you want, if you would like me to format the book, we will talk and we'll come up with a price structure. But yeah, writing a book isn't just writing stuff down on a computer. It is a whole industry, and it's complicated to get it right. In fact, I have 3 proof copies. Where's my other one? Actually bending one of them. I actually have 3 proof copies here because I wanted to keep making revisions. That's the downside, but that's okay. I don't mind. And honestly, another reason. Let me grab my other book real quick. Another reason you want to consider self-publishing, like I did through a system like CreateSpace, is what I'm using here. Is this book cost me $1,500 to print. The print quality is very good. The internal formatting is not nearly as good as this internal formatting. Well, I did a way better job on the internal formatting than these guys did. If I want to buy one of these to have it in stock, it costs me over $8. This cost me $2.57 plus shipping. So it ends up being, $3 to $6 depending on how many books I get. And so that's another reason why you want to go with this system. I like the cover print quality on this one better, but this is matte, this is gloss. That might make the difference. I went with matte because my original book was matte. So that's kind of that. Lenovo and other Chinese brands put malware. Some of them do. You have to watch out for that. Epson manufactured printer, at least it says it's not supported. I think the one printer I have here is an Epson. So it might be the type of Epson. Dell's the only honest company I know. Greetings, Tim. You're welcome back. Don't forget that System 76 will only make hardware that comes with Linux. Yes, System 76 is certainly one to look for. Linux, I get my ebooks and audios from my public library online. You need a library card, then you create an account, and then you can download for free and legally. Cool. That's a good way to do it as well. Dell laptops would probably be a laptop of my choice. Yep. Anyone aware of a good way to print/store a web page that you get the continuous page rather than split up if you print to PDF? If you right-click and save the page as, then it will actually save a local HTML file because it's going to save the file, and it's going to save a file folder with all of the assets. So just save the file on your desktop, and then you want to move that file and its accompanying folder to any directory you want to save it in. 6 to Linux, red team or blue team? Red pill, blue pill? I don't know, red pill, I guess. I don't know. Clarify. What are you talking about? All right. All Linux or Linux, bro. Okay. Can you review Copperhead OS on your Nexus phone? My Nexus phone is a production phone, so I'm not messing with it. I have it built the way I want, and it's actually on my business line. So, no, not at this time. If I can find or pick up another cheap Nexus phone, I would love to. But as of right now, yeah, it's production. It's actually live, and I would prefer not to mess with it right now because my iPhone is on the way out, I'm pretty sure. It drops calls repeatedly all the time anymore and gives me like 1x data transfer. It rocks. So I'm imagining that my Nexus will become my main phone very soon. Can't tell from here, but on my screen, I've been booping your nose for 3 minutes. I was wondering. Leave my nose alone. All right. Okay. My Canon printer scanner works with Manjaro out of the box. Sweet. All right. I use Linux for schoolwork. Does a better job than Windows. Yep. Are there free books? And 2, do you have any idea if there is a free app for Calibre? I feel like there was on F-Droid. Well, what do you mean if there's a free app for Calibre? Oh, well, what I do is I have my Calibre server, and then all you need to do on your phone is just go to in my case, if I'm in the office, of course I have to use a non-Tor browser to do this, but I go to the IP address. Oh, I got to type the IP address in correctly, though. Okay, and this is my Calibre server on my home network. And so what I can do is just right-click any book. Let's see, what do I want? Is there a book on here that I kind of want to download? I'll just go ahead and download here. I'll go ahead and download this one. So you just come over here, find the book you want to download, click the file, and it opens the book right up inside of FB Reader. And so that's what you do. And then automatically it's inside the library. Now there is a way with FB Reader to auto sync up using a Drive, Nextcloud, whatever else you want to use. I've never done that, so I don't know exactly. All right, yell at them. Yell at who? Okay, thanks. Maybe we'll start with free books on Calibre. Yeah, the only thing to watch out for free books on Calibre is there is one group. I have it disabled on my actual main computer that I do this on. Let me see if I can remember which one it is. There's one group that's like every single book you say, it's like free, and it gives you like one chapter. It gives you a preview, and it's not really easy to see its preview. So once I found out what one it was, I actually kicked it off my network. Let me see if I can see where it is. I can't remember it just by looking at the list of stuff. You make a copy of ebook to PC and to mobile phone. Yes. What you do, again, the best way to do this is to run the server. But if you're actually running Calibre, you don't actually have to have a full server. If you're running Calibre, just come up here to the top, hit Connect Share. hit Start Content Server. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow you to come down here and you enter the IP address here, and it will load up this Calibre server in there. So you can share this with any device with a web browser. Now on a PC, you'd have to download some type of reader. Now, of course, on Linux, there's multiple different ebook readers. Just find one. On Windows, I'm pretty sure there still are some. I just don't know because I've never actually sat there and read ebooks on a Windows computer. That's what you can do, so you can send those over. Of course, on a Mac, if you're on a Mac, Mac has iBooks pre-installed, which is actually a pretty good program, actually. I did get a chance to play with all of them on all the different systems because I wanted to test the book out well. Yes, DRM might have something to do with copyright. Well, yeah, no, DRM is the digital rights management. You select whether you want to offer DRM or not, and I specifically selected not to because I'm against DRM. So if there's DRM on my book, then it's exclusively somebody else's fault. But contact me and I will get you a DRM-free copy because I hate DRM. Do I have to find my DRM-asaur? There's my DRM-asaur. All right, you guys brothers, Tim and Tom, yes. Okay, what's up? I'm late for the show. Yes, Mark. But hey, just don't be late for the next stream. Oh, which starts in like 15 minutes. I gotta run. Let's do the last thing, and then we're gonna jump this over, and then we're gonna run over. The last thing I want to do is Blender. So with Blender, this is of course what I used to build the promo videos that you saw. Of course, with Blender, it's a full 3D animation studio. And so I built the grid, of course, using my board from the front. And then I built a couple copies of the book. And of course, you can see they're full books, both of them. And then I set some spotlights to give me some good shadowing. So you can see I have some spotlights here and here. And I have a main global light over here. And then, of course, I have a camera, and if I come down to View and Set Active Camera View, this is the view we get. Now, this is the banner set. This allowed me to take the banner. So if I come over here to render it, you'll see it renders with the blue, and I use this blue to match what my website looks like so that we can get over there and view that. So let me escape out of that. So this is kind of what I did for my promo videos. And then I did one in 1080p and one in whatever the banner width happens to be. So this is Blender, how I use Blender to create the promo book stuff for it. So I could have really, now that I have these done, I could really come in here and do a lot of different photo shots. I could do some camera action angles, stuff like that. So that's the suite of software that I use to do the book production. I'm going to leave you guys with the link for the I pushed the wrong tab that time. Now let me start up Firefox this time. And then what we're going to do is we are going to jump over to the other stream. For those that want to hear some offensive Christian content, jump on over to the other stream where we will actually get into the book itself. Of course, there's, I think in the description here, you can actually find the, let me go. Christ, let me just make sure we can grab the video there. Copy link location and come on over here. We're going to start up in about 10 minutes on the Christian site, and then I will actually read some excerpts. Sorry I can't get to the rest of these comments, but I want to make sure we start that stream on time, so join us over there, and we will continue our discussion. So thanks for watching, and if you're watching this afterwards, the link to the other video is down on the comments below. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy switching to Linux, and check us out in 10 minutes at the other channel for an actual reading.